The sky above the battlefield boiled with smoke and gunfire, a sprawling storm of chaos that swallowed all hope. SEAL Team Echo had been trapped for hours, backed against the jagged rocks of a narrow valley with no air support, no backup, and no route of escape. Mortar fire shook the earth every few seconds, and the air vibrated with the constant crack of rifles from insurgents closing in from every direction. Lieutenant Mason Reeve crouched behind the burned skeleton of a transport vehicle, sweat and dust streaked across his face, his team dwindling in strength and ammunition. Petty Officer Jordan Hale was bleeding heavily from a shoulder wound, the medic struggling to keep him conscious while the rest of the team fired around them, doing everything they could to survive. They had requested air support repeatedly. Nothing. Every pilot in the region was already engaged in distant combat zones. Even if someone could come, enemy anti-aircraft guns lined the ridge, firing deadly streaks of light skyward. Mason stared at the radio, hearing nothing but static and the distant echoes of dying hope. "We don't die today," he said firmly, though even he felt the edge of despair cutting into his resolve. High above the carnage, far beyond the sight of desperate soldiers below, an A-10 Thunderbolt II cut through the sky. It was old, rugged, and anything but glamorous, yet it carried a quiet power that few understood. Flying it was Captain Aria Shepard, call sign Ghostwalker, a pilot many overlooked, underestimated, or simply ignored. Her aircraft wasn't fast like the F-16s or sleek like high-tech stealth jets, but it was deadly in the hands of someone who knew its soul. Aria knew it better than anyone. Today, she was circling far outside the designated combat area. She wasn't called, she wasn't cleared, she wasn't part of the mission. But when she intercepted half-broken communications from Echo Team, something in her heart anchored her. A familiar instinct rose, one forged from years of classified missions, battlefield scars, and a sniper-trained past that most never knew she had. Ghostwalker diverting to Echo's signal, she said into her comms. Command immediately denied it. Air support was forbidden. The zone was too dangerous. The anti-aircraft grid was lethal. Negative, they repeated. Do not enter the valley. Aria watched the battlefield below, flames licking the sky, bullets sparking like angry stars. She heard their fear, their desperation, their silence. She took a slow breath, flipped her radio off, and angled her aircraft downward. The A-10 screamed as it dove headfirst toward the inferno. On the ground, Mason glanced up, hearing a distant thunder that didn't sound like artillery. The sound grew louder, deeper, like a metallic growl echoing across the valley. Aria Shepard plunged her A-10 through the smoke and unleashed the legendary GAU-8 Avenger cannon. A roar like rolling thunder ripped across the valley. BRRRRRRRRRRTTTTTTT. 800 rounds per second tore through armored vehicles, sandbag positions, and advancing enemy fighters with surgical precision. Dirt and fire erupted in violent waves. Enemy forces scrambled in panic. The SEALs froze, staring upward, disbelief written across their faces. As that, Jordan whispered weakly. Mason's eyes widened as another shockwave boomed through the valley. That's an A-10, he said. And whoever is flying it, isn't human. Aria's aircraft carved through the air, rolling into a second strike. She hit anti-aircraft mount points first. 1, 2, 3, blowing them apart with brutal accuracy before they could even fully track her. She dipped low, skimming the ridge line, firing bursts at sniper nests and heavy machine gun crews. The A-10 absorbed fire like a beast built for punishment, but nothing slowed her. She moved like a ghost, silent, relentless, unstoppable. Enemy fighters retreated, scattered, or simply vanished beneath clouds of dust. Below, Mason felt adrenaline surge back into his shattered hope. She's clearing us a path. Bennett shouted as he applied pressure to Jordan's wound. Mason knew this style, these maneuvers, aggressive, fearless, impossibly precise. He remembered rumors. A pilot who saved a Ranger platoon in Kandahar. A woman who once landed an A-10 with half a wing gone. A pilot with sniper instincts instead of ordinary training. Ghostwalker. Aria Shepard dove again, her plane shaking violently as bullets hammered her fuselage. Warning lights screamed across her cockpit. Hydraulics failing. Right wing damaged. Fuel line compromised. She didn't flinch. 2 enemy aircraft launched from a hidden dirt runway in the mountains. Sleek. Fast. Deadly. Aria smirked under her helmet. She dropped altitude instantly, diving into a canyon so narrow that even expert pilots avoided it. The enemy jets overshot, losing her on radar. She rose again toward the valley, not for glory, not for orders, but for the 23 men below who still clung to life. She fired her final Maverick missile, destroying the last wave of enemy reinforcements advancing on the SEALs. But as she pulled up, her eyes widened. A hidden anti-aircraft cannon rose from a camouflaged platform. It fired before she could evade. The missile struck her right engine. The A-10 bucked violently, spinning out of control. Arya gritted her teeth as smoke filled the cockpit. She fought gravity, steering the crippled aircraft away from the SEALs so it wouldn't crash on top of them. Alarms blared. Metal groaned. She pushed the yoke with every ounce of strength. Come on. Just a little more. The A-10 clipped a ridge and slammed into the ground in a violent burst of flame. The SEALs stared toward the crash site, stunned and silent. Mason felt something heavy sink into his chest. No, he whispered, then barked orders. Find her, now. They ran across the smoking valley, pushing through pain and exhaustion until they reached the burning wreckage. Mason climbed the broken fuselage, tearing metal away with his bare, bleeding hands. Inside the shattered cockpit, through smoke and fire, he saw her. Arya Shepherd, bruised, bloodied, barely conscious, but alive. Her helmet cracked open as she looked at him through half-lidded eyes. Did I get them? She whispered. Mason nodded, his voice thick. Yeah, he said. You got all of them. A faint smile touched her lips before she slipped into unconsciousness. Hours later, after rescue helicopters transported them all to safety, the truth of her actions spread through the ranks. Arya had destroyed 27 enemy vehicles, neutralized 3 anti-aircraft systems, wiped out an entire ambush formation, and saved SEAL Team Echo from certain death. Intelligence later confirmed that the enemy had planned a follow-up assault that would have killed hundreds. She prevented all of it, alone, in a damaged A-10 she kept flying through sheer will. As she lay recovering in a military hospital, Mason visited her. He placed a hand on the rail of her bed. You didn't just save us, he said softly. You changed everything. Arya opened her eyes slightly. You weren't supposed to be there alone, she said weakly. Somebody inside the Pentagon rerouted your extraction. Someone wanted Echo gone. Mason stiffened. How do you know? Her gaze sharpened, revealing everything and nothing at the same time. Because I've seen it before, she whispered. Black Viper Unit. OMEGA-7, Ghost Recon Patch Teams. Someone inside knows how to erase soldiers. You're not just a pilot, Mason said. Arya didn't answer. She didn't need to. Weeks later, healed but walking with a slight limp, Arya returned to the flight line. A brand new A-10 waited for her, stronger, upgraded, built to match her spirit. Mason approached her with a determined look. We're forming a joint investigation, he said. Someone in high command betrayed us. We want you on the team. Arya exhaled slowly, the desert wind brushing her hair. You want the Ghostwalker? No, Mason said. We want the woman who saved us. A small smile touched her lips. Then let's finish this. They walked together across the flight line, 2 warriors bound by fire, fate, and the beginning of a mission that would shake the foundations of military command. Arya Shepherd, underdog pilot, hidden sniper, classified phantom, stepped into the fading sunlight and embraced the legend she never asked for but fully earned. Her story was no longer one of being underestimated. It was the story of a warrior who rose when the world burned, who saved the helpless, and who turned the tide of a battle no one thought could be won. Her mission wasn't over. It had only just begun. If you want to see even better stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your best comments. Thanks for watching.